I welcome my select viewers once again to my 117th video of my YouTube channel, Writer Sandanam Speaks. Writer Sandanam Speaks in small letter. I am a small man with a small ego. The topic of my talk today is Sri Ramana Maharishi, the realized poet, whose birth anniversary is being celebrated today, that is 31st December. Though he was born on the midnight of 30th December. As per the English calendar, today is his birth anniversary. Viewers might have listened to some of my earlier videos on Sri Ramana, one of them titled as Ramana Maharishi, the real Mackay. It is a fortunate coincidence that the birthdays of two sages, one Sri Ramana of Tiruchuli of Tamil Nadu and the other Jesus of Bethlehem, are being celebrated almost simultaneously all over the world with piety and enthusiasm. These two realized souls expect posterity to remember them more by their wise words than by their births, because they also vanished from this mundane world like any other mortals. But what differentiates them from us is they live in their immortal and incorporeal words. While the biblical Jesus Christ conversed in his mother tongue Hebrew on freedom from the bonds of material world, the modern day sage Sri Ramana Maharishi conversed on spiritual liberation in his mother tongue Tamil, mine too, with eager aspirants who went up to the holy cave of Thiruvannamalai Hill to meet him. Like Buddha and Jesus, Sri Ramana Maharishi avoided gossip and his talk always centered around the eternal truth with a capital T. Being a school dropout who never heard the word Brahmanyani, Ramana became one in his 17th year when he left his residence Madurai, incidentally my native town too, and reached Thiruvannamalai, which became his permanent address since then. Roaming about the forest of Thiruvannamalai hill with his loincloth around, he met with learned people like Kavyagadda Ganapati Muni and Muruganar. He also read spiritual books brought to him by his caretaker like Palanisami. The books included the Sanskrit Upanishads, Sankara's writings like Brahma Sutra, Viveka Chudamani, and Tamil poems like Thiruvasagam Thai Manavar, Kaivalya Navanidam, to cite a few. On reading them, to his great surprise, he found the experience of the above sages tallied with his experience. With his acquired knowledge, he composed poems in Sanskrit, Malayalam, Telugu, Tamil, like a polyglot. I have three important collections of his Tamil poems. Ulladu 40, Arunachala Aksharam, and Ubadesa Undiya. Here I am quoting a few poems from them with its English rendering, besides interpreting them as per my understanding. But before that, a few words about poetry. There are two types of poets who succinctly as well as with rhythmic beauty state their views so that readers could commit them to memory and ponder over their profound statements in solitude. Shakespeare's 150 sonnets is one example. The other category of poets, mostly from Eastern world, composed poems which reveal the eternal truth. They are called sages. The Western poets like Greek Homer, Italian Dante, Virgil, and English Shakespeare, Milton, and so on, wrote poems mostly on material world with its complexities and sorrow. Their poems are produced from their ingenious, imaginative brain, but the poems by the Eastern sages emanated from an unknown source beyond thinking mechanism to fulfill the needs of the spiritual aspirants who tried to escape, like me, from the sorrow-ridden cycle of birth and death. See, Ramana Maharishi and Islamic Sufis like Kabir and Rumi come under this category. They are realized and enlightened poets and Jivan Muktas. To cite the modern phrase, within quote, dead men walking, that is, dead to the mind, the mischief maker. Now, regarding the caption of my talk, let me quote a few poems from Ramana Maharishi in Tamil, followed by English translation with my comments too. Verse 1. உள்ளது அல்லது உள்ளது உணர்வு உள்ளதோ உள்ள பொருள் உள்ளற உள்ளத்தே உள்ளதால் உள்ளம் எனும் உள்ள பொருள் உள்ளல் எவன் உள்ளத்தே உள்ளபடி உள்ளத்தே உள்ளல் எவன். The meaning briefly is, there is something called Brahman, the ever existing pure ultimate truth. This is inside one's heart. According to Ramana, as I earlier mentioned, the heart is on the right side of the man, chest. This cannot be attained by mind. That is, this Brahman cannot be attained by mind, which appears as outside world, that is illusory world, with its attendant suffering. Verse 2. அறியாமை விட்டு அறிவின்றாம் அறிவு விட்டு அறியாமை என்றாகும் அந்த அறிவும் அறியாமையும் ஆர்க்கு என்று முதலாம் தன்னை அறிவும் அறிவே அறிவு. In this poem, Sri Ramana Maharishi hits the nail on the limitation of human knowledge, which is not absolute but relative. He himself on another occasion explains the meaning of this verse. Quote, there is no knowledge without ignorance, and there is no ignorance without knowledge. About this oxymoron, contradiction, this knowledge and ignorance are two sides of the same coin. More you try to know, more you do not know. This strange phenomenon is explained by astronomical facts. Science, with its proud knowledge, within quote, proud knowledge, keeps on surprising even its own scientific community, whose newfound scientific discoveries go on contradicting their old scientific theories. On the contrary, the sage says, quote, knowing oneself is the only true knowledge beyond human thought, which only is called true knowledge or wisdom. It is one intelligence with capital I. It is one intelligence and one only intelligence, as distinct from man's acquired partial knowledge, subject to correction. Verse 3. எழுத்தறிந்த தாம் பிறந்தது எங்கே என்று எண்ணி எழுத்தை தொலைக்க எனாதோர் எழுத்தறிந்து என் சத்தன்மொழி எந்திரத்தின் சால்புற்றார் சோனகிரி வித்தகனே வேறார் விளம்பு. The justice, the so-called men do not know where they come from. Once they know it, they will destroy their fateful karma, the never-ending source of birth and death. Without this self-enquiry, Sri Ramana's signature tune is, who am I? They can only be equated with the modern tape recorder repeating their memorized learning. The above three commentary needing somewhat difficult poems are from the poetic collection Ulladu Narpadu. Now, easy to understand poems from the collection Upadesa Undiya. எண்ணூறு யாவும் இறையுருவாமென எண்ணி வழிபடல் உந்தி பெற ஈசனர் பூசனை உந்தி பெற. Translated, whatever one witnesses in nature are only the various forms of God. Verse 2. மனவுரு மாய மெய்மண்ணும் மாயோகி தனக்கோர் செயலிலை உந்தி பெற தண்ணியல் சார்ந்தனன் உந்தி பெற. Meaning, mind extinct, the mighty seer, with a capital S, returns to his own natural being and has no action to perform. My comment, while the mindful, within quote, while the mindful, desireful man indulges in reaction producing actions, the mindless, again with quote, the mindless, thoughtless sage lives in quietness, though he might look in our eyes as a busybody. Verse 3. நானனும் எழுமிடம் ஏதன நாட உள்நான் தலை சாயும் என்று உந்திய பெற ஞான விசாரம் இது உந்திய பெற. This explains the meaning of self-enquiry. When one turns within and searches from where this I thought arises, the shamed ego, the shamed I vanishes and wisdom's quest begins, enquiry begins. Verse 4. அறிவு அறியாமை அற்ற அறிவே அறிவாகும் உந்திய பெற அறிவதற்கு ஒன்றில்லை உந்திய பெற. This once again confirms the earlier poem, that is, true knowledge transcends human knowledge and ignorance. A verse from Kena Upanishad 2 confirms this truth. Quote, it is not understood by those who understand it. It is understood by those who do not understand it. Third confirmation comes from another latest sage, U.G. Krishnamurti, whom I personally heard, within quote, intellect is the only instrument you have. When it dawns upon you that it is not the instrument to understand anything, then there is no understanding. Before I conclude, let me quote one more verse from this realized poet Ramana Maharishi from his Arunachala Akshara Manimala. ஊர் சுற்று முளமிடாது உனை கண்டு அடங்கிட உன் அழகை காட்டு அருணாச்சலா. O Arunachala, the presiding deity of Tiruvannamalai, please reveal your beautiful form, on seeing which my wandering mind will stop in its tract. This is in good comparison with the words from Bible. Quote, be still and know that I am God. Quoted many times by the modern Jesus, Sri Ramana Maharishi, during his talks. Whoever is interested, I repeat, whoever is interested in stilling the wandering mind, repository of desires and consequent suffering, may read poems from these realized poets like Sri Ramana Maharishi, Manikya Vasagar, Thai Manavar, intensely, and they will find themselves, I am sure, on the right path towards liberation, the ultimate goal of human being. Happy and prosperous New Year, and many happy returns of the words, wise words of Sri Ramana Maharishi. Thank you.